Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you there's something else, the afterworld. Or as we like to call it, the podcast called This Are Johnny Domino.
I like that introduction. Did I tell you when I saw Prince when he played at the O2 in, what was it, 2007? I was very excited, obviously. Yeah. And just before he came on stage, you kind of hear this chord building up. Mm-hmm. And then this tiny little man popped up through a hole in the stage and said, "Dearly beloved," and I lost my shit.
Oh, as you would.
I just went crazy.
Did you? Oh, well, that's the song.
Exactly. It was a call to arms, man. It really worked.
Yeah.
That's how you start a gig.
Sounds good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
That's the other one.
And here we are. It's another podcast. Good to be here, Steve.
Nice to be with you as well.
And we're going to do some more talking about music that we made a long time ago and reminiscing.
If you're a returning listener to the show, you know what the deal is. But if you are new here, this is basically myself, Steve, and my brother Giles.
Hello.
And we talk about songs that we recorded at home on crappy equipment and sometimes borrowed equipment. And we recorded them about 30 years ago. And we just listening to them and commenting on them. And that is the podcast.
And last episode, if you listened, we had the audacity to introduce a new feature where we're encouraging listeners to send in their own recordings from the olden days, primitive recordings, preferably.
Yeah,
of recordings that they made and things that perhaps they've got stashed under their bed in a box. Now, I did omit to mention last episode that there is a prize. There is a prize for this. And Leon, in the last episode, did actually gain that prize because he gained admittance into the Eternal Hall of the Four-Track Gods.
Ooh.
Yeah. Can I have some more delay on that one, please?
All right, okay. Are you going to say it again then, and I'll add loads of delay, and it will sound like Lee Scratch Perry.
Okay. The Eternal Hall of the Four-Track Gods.
I'm going to leave a long tail for that. Okay.
Beautiful. Right. So Leon actually won the T-shirt, which is a beautiful thing, which I've designed, and you could win one too if you impress us enough with your submission. So get it sent in. And if you don't get accepted into the Eternal Hall of the Four-Track Gods, then I'm afraid you're going to end up being put back under the bed. Isn't that right, Steve?
It's exactly what is going to happen. We will make you put your tapes back under the bed.
Back under the bed.
So it's not a given that if you send something in, it ends up in the hall.
Yeah, you might not win a T-shirt.
That sounds harsh.
Yeah, well, I might come up with a booby prize.
Okay.
Might be a pen or something.
How about a T-shirt with a big red cross across the middle?
I'm thinking like a rubber or a pen.
Oh, nice. I like the merch ideas. Excellent stuff.
Yeah, good. Right. You're not the only one who's good at marketing.
It worked out well.
Right.
Okay. We've got a few interesting songs to talk about today. The first one is a song that was recorded in 1995/1996. It kind of got into a period where we were just recording pretty much constantly. I think at that point I'd left university, and I don't know what you were doing at that time. You might have been up in Leeds, or maybe you're back home.
I don't know. Neither do I.
Yeah.
Memory.
Yeah, but we were kind of recording on an ad hoc basis as opposed to in batches. Now, this is a song, you could probably class it as, I've just heard Nick Drake. potentially.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I've just heard Nick Drake, but I'm nowhere near good enough to play like Nick Drake, but I'm having a go. It's a song called The Last Mod.
Mm.
Can you remember why we wrote a song called The Last Mod?
Yeah, I do actually. I've got a clear idea about it, and I think I'll talk about it afterwards. I'm going to let people listen to it first, but I want you to listen out for things that I like about it. I quite like the sparse guitar, and I also like when the high BVs come in on the chorus. You know, it could be a winning factor, having the looks of a child actor, but no car or scooter yet. Yeah, sometimes he walks for free, and it's probably not how it used to be. He dreams of his uncle's stories, of how things used to be. In his mind, a reconstruction of bank holidays, and when he goes out, he doesn't understand. Feeling like a visitor in a strange and foreign land. Smart haircut, new job, he is the last mod. Smart haircut, new job, he is the last mod. The mod girl is extinct, and this one here is scratched. So he got a box set, he's not played it yet, and it's probably not how it used to be. Smart haircut, new job, he is the last mod. Smart haircut, new job, he is the last mod. Just jump left, right, and then turn sideways. Be the last mod is all or nothing plays. Just jump left, right, and then turn sideways. Be the last mod is all or nothing plays. Now, I quite like to avoid tech talk as much as possible, but how did you create that guitar sound? Because I like that guitar sound.
It's quite a technical answer to that question. What I did was I took a microphone and I pointed it at the guitar.
Ah,
That's it.
that's it.
There's no trickery on that. It's one track of guitar.
Is it?
It's one track, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that's it. Stick a microphone in front of it.
Nice.
There you go. We're debunking all the myths of recording.
Yeah.
Stick a microphone in front of it. See what it sounds like.
Do you want to tell us what mic you used? That's the kind of thing that people talk about on podcasts, right?
Genuinely no idea.
Oh, okay. Right.
It might have been a Shure SM57.
Okay.
Because we had one of those somehow. We got hold of one of those.
Did we?
And that's just a job in microphone. You stick in front of something, it records it. That's it.
Yeah. I like it. It sounds like it's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we recorded. We just stuck it in front of it and tried to get as much of it, the sound, as we could.
Yeah. I think you did all right on that one, to be honest, in terms of guitar.
You did all right as well.
Well, thanks. Self-congratulatory.
Hey, here we
go
are
again.
Aren't we? Brilliant.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, you were asking about where the song came from. So I've definitely got a clear memory that it's based on an actual person. There was a man, or a young man, who I used to see occasionally in the Blue Note in Derby, who had a very mod style haircut.
Yeah, very short.
This is definitely a few years before Liam Gallagher kind of like made that a thing. And I remember this guy, and I think he definitely had the full on mod regalia.
Yeah.
And he could be seen dancing to All or Nothing by the Small Faces, quite often on his own in the middle of the dance floor.
Yeah.
And I never spoke to him. I don't know who he was. I don't know his name, but he struck me as a very, not sad, but quite kind of melancholy and nostalgic figure. And I don't know. It was quite touching, really, that he was like sticking with it after everyone else had sort of packed in.
He used to wear like a stripy boating jacket type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like a 1930s thing. I'm going to blow your mind. I got to know him.
Oh, wow. Why did you never tell me this?
I'll get into that. However, right, I wish I could remember his name. I want to say Martin.
Okay, let's call him Martin.
I'm going to say Martin.
Martin, the last mod.
And he worked in a pub where my ex-girlfriend worked. And I said, oh, no, that's the last mod. And she said, well, he's a really nice bloke. And he actually came to see Johnny Domino play when we played in the Bless. And he was a really, really nice guy. I never told him that we called him the last mod, but he was genuinely a lovely bloke. He was very much into John's Children. I ended up talking to him a lot about mod music.
Yeah.
And he was talking about John's Children. He loved them.
Yeah.
And
I don't know much about John's Children.
No, I didn't, but he flipping did.
Yeah.
So there you go. He was a really nice bloke, and he did keep the look up all the time. Yeah. And, the older you get, I think when you're younger, you kind of look at those people and go, God, that's really pathetic. But then you think about the effort that goes into maintaining a very specific look. You can't help but admire them. Yeah. Remember, there was a couple in Ilkeston, but in Kirkcallam near Ilkeston, and they were goths. And like husband and wife goths. And I remember seeing them walking through Kirkcallam, and they're in full-on black goth regalia. And they had a daughter who wore nothing but pink.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was a really lovely thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's like when you go to Whitby, in October, and you see the Goth weekend. It's like the gathering of the tribes, isn't it? Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there are mod gatherings as well. And it's like the last anything. It's like the last raver. Yeah, there will eventually be the last ravers, and there'll be the last whatever. There'll be the last weird lo-fi 4-track recorders.
Yeah,
whatever group you belong to. But yeah, I don't know. That's what that song's about. I was going to call it The Last Mod in Derby, but I just shortened it.
Yeah. It reminds me of a track by Pavement called Fillmore Jive, which I wrote a lot about in my dissertation that we've mentioned before. It's all about the end of youth culture. In my head, it's like that. The jam kids on their Vespers and glum looks on their faces. The streets full of punks, they've got spikes. See those rockers with their long curly locks. Good night to the rock and roll era, because they don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of, it's the end of those sort of tribes. And that's kind of come to pass because, I don't know, do you still see those sorts of tribes? I suppose you do. Some friends of ours, they go to Download, and they used to go to Indie Tracks, rest in peace, Indie Tracks Festival. And they said they were basically the same. It was these people that were outsiders in, inverted commas, regular society, finding their people, and they were able to just be themselves.
It's nice to be part of a gang.
Yeah.
last thing I want to say about it, really, lyrics that I kind of picked up on that I'd forgotten about. The bit where talking about the mod girl is extinct.
Yeah.
So this idea is like searching around for a mate, as it were,
Yes.
but there are none to be found. And then in the next line, he's kind of confusing the looking for a mod girl with looking for a rare record.
Yeah,
because it's like it's scratched, and then he has to buy a box set. It's a melancholy kind of Nick Drake-esque song.
Yeah.
But I think it's all right. I think it's definitely a contender for the mixtape.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, the mod look has come back. If you think about This Is England, Shane Meadows, the mod girls, that look has kind of passed in to culture now, and you do see them around with those very extreme. The mod girls, they're not extinct, and everything goes in cycles, and we're doomed to repeat our own youth cultures until the end of time.
I wonder if Martin is still out there.
I wonder if Martin is his name. So many questions. Anyway, right. So the next song we're going to talk about is a song called Vocodamol. And that is a track from what was the last, again, in quotation marks, proper Johnny Domino album.
What I don't understand why is it in quotation marks?
Well, just because it's, I think of the stuff that we recorded, it's all of a part, but we only released officially 4 albums.
Well, if people wanted to listen to this track, it's available on Spotify. So I feel like it's in the world.
That's more proper than anything else we've done.
Yeah, this one's in the world already.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think we're continuing the slightly melancholy theme of this episode. I think when we get to it.
No, I think you're right.
But interestingly, I did mention a few episodes ago that Big Jim Convery had got in touch. Now, Big Jim Convery was true to his word, and he has recorded a bit of an introduction to this song. So we're going to see what Jim's got to say about it before we listen to it. And Jim was our vocalist for a number of years.
Yeah,
a key member of the group. So I'm going to honour him with a Jim jingle before we bring him in.
Okay,
ready?
As I'll ever be.
Yeah, you might have to do just like I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit addicted to the vocal effects. I'd quite like a bit of pitch shifter on this one. Right.
What sort of level of pitch shift? Like low?
I don't know. I'll let you fix it. I'll let you fix it.
Right, all
ready?
Right, thanks. Go.
Big Jim Convery's gonna get you there.
Vocodamol, a song about a lonely nerd, William, who builds a robot companion, ultimately rejects him. It's not an autobiographical song. A few things inspired the song, in fact. Firstly, a couple of films that I'd recently watched. Those films being Metropolis and Weird Science, and there's definitely more Weird Science than Metropolis in there. Then a couple of thematically similar songs, Computer Love and Computer Blue. Also, I suppose the other bit was wanting to write a song with a character in it. And I guess the William bit is kind of a tip of the hat to Morrissey. William, it was really nothing, but I was thinking about other songs with characters in too at the time. So listen to it now. I mean, I like it, but I suppose it has a slightly different feel to it. I mean, it foreshadows, accidentally I might add, foreshadows AI. And I suppose, you could be tempted to say, hey, you've written a song about a sex robot here. That's a bit weird. Well, it's not really about that, though. Like thousands of other pop songs, it's of course about love. And I guess it speaks to the idea that love may be a construct, but it can't be manufactured, that it's an irrational idea, and there's a danger of being in love with an imagined version of someone rather than the real one. Love is strange, love hurts, love scars. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Love does not compute.
I really like that end bit. It sounds like the robot is malfunctioning, and it's kind of like breaking down with the sort of delay kind of going, catching up with each other and kind of stuff. And listening to that just brought back the phrase, I think we used to use it quite often, more Snickers, more delay.
You see, the phrase that came to my mind was actually from somebody I used to know through work. He was talking about Steely Dan. He was not a fan of Steely Dan. And he said about them, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And I kind of got that feeling at several points during that song, that things were just going on a little bit.
I don't know. I think I need more Snickers and more delay.
Okay, I think there's too much. There's too much delay on that whole album. I think there's just so much, and there's so much delay on that guitar, and it just sounds a bit clunky to me. That bit at the end, because it's quite a nice. I think if we'd cleaned up the sound,
I think it's meant to be clunky though, because it's meant to be like the sound of the robot breaking down.
Yeah, but you're putting on an interpretation.
Well, that's what. Yeah, but isn't that what you do when you listen to music?
Yes. Oh,
I think I disagree with Jim as well. I think it is about a sex robot, but then he wrote the lyrics, so
yeah, exactly. You're just throwing out interpretations all over the place. It's an interpretive dance.
I am. I'm going to do an interpretive dance about what I thought about that song. Unfortunately, you can't see it. There you go.
What I thought about that song, I think your bass playing is outstanding on it. I mean, it's brilliant all the way through. I think I like the layers of keyboards and noise. I mean, there's a lot of, again, delayed guitar at the start. It's a very, very short loop of a single chord that just goes on forever. I really like the introduction and I like the verse. Feels as though the music for the chorus is a bit tossed off.
It's not. It's got that really weird squalling guitar bit that doesn't make sense. It's like what I can't even. When I listen to it, I can't even figure out what it is you're playing. It doesn't even have any. It seems like it's completely bizarre compared.
What, the single line?
Yeah, it's like really weird. I like the fact that we're really kind of like picking apart this song. It's like I don't know what is it, because this is one that's a bit of a sacred cow. So we're kind of like we're digging into it. We used to play this one quite a lot. It was like one that's on the album.
Yeah,
I think we're kind of getting quite picky with it, aren't we?
I wouldn't say any of these songs were sacred cows.
No, maybe not.
But here's another issue I've got with the guitar playing in particular. We recorded all this album in a very peculiar way. I think there's only one track where I go through a guitar amp. The rest of it, I'm going through. Mark had like a Zoom effect pedal, and we used it to kind of as an amp simulator. And I went into that, and then straight into the 8-track. And I recorded all the guitar parts without any other music on the tape. And I don't know why that was. I think normally what we'd done in the past, we'd get the drum machine down and then we'd build the track up in a kind of regular way. So you do your bass part. And then for some reason on this album, I had to do the guitar bits first. And because of that, psychologically, it feels a bit unconnected to the rest of the song. Maybe that's just me.
I think that's your interpretation.
Well, but it is based on what actually happened, as opposed to you just talking about sex robots. You know, we've thing is, we've got the word from the source. We've opened up the Jim jar, and we've got Jim's words saying this is what the song's about.
Yeah, I know, but all right, this is going this is like a good discussion. When you put something out in the world,
yeah,
right, it no longer is yours. It is the listener. We're going to get into some art theory now, right? The listener completes the artwork. The viewer completes the artwork, right? By putting their interpretation on it. What you intended is, it's interesting, but it's actually, the point is what the listener brings to it is their personal experience of it, and that's as valid as the maker's intention, I think. Discuss.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the ending reminds me of the Meat Puppets as well.
Oh, yeah. Big
Because
time.
we were loving the Meat Puppets, weren't we?
Especially Up on the Sun. Especially Up on the Sun.
Loved them a bit too much, didn't we, man?
A little bit too much. We're kind of modelling ourselves on probably the least successful SST band. The thing about the Meat Puppets is, if you read Our Band Could Be Your Life, the Meat Puppets are the band that all the other bands, they really dug them. Like everyone just thought, oh, the Meat Puppets are amazing, but nobody bought their records.
Yeah, they were like the heroes of the scene, but yeah, they were not. They were the least successful, I guess. Yeah. Well, I think that's it, though, isn't it? Sometimes you have to have some bands like that that kind of keep things going.
Yeah, and I'm not in any way saying that we are the Meat Puppets, but it's just the fact that we modelled ourselves on a really obscure band that were very unpopular.
Yeah, it was a foregone conclusion, the unpopularity. Yeah. I think I am going to take Jim's interpretation of the lyrics, definitely. Yeah. But, I still think it is a bit about a sex robot.
Yeah.
There you go. And it sounds like a sex robot that's breaking down.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it.
I'd just like to say thank you to Jim for sending his words in. Interestingly, without any prompting, we did receive a recording from the other member of Johnny Domino at this time, Mark Elston.
The
Elkstone. And he, for reasons known to himself, decided to record a cover of that song. And he sent it to us.
Shall we have a bit of a listen to it?
Let's have a little bit of it.
Got a bit of a skanky feel to it. I'm skanking to this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a ska version, an electro ska version.
Is that a bossa nova rhythm?
It is like the Special was doing bossa nova, and he's kind of hitting the offbeat and that keyboard on the chorus. It's skanky.
Fantastic day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he probably still does love Hayward.
Fantastic day. He's brought the haircut to it. I like the fact that he's added some space to the song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's more space.
Love does not compute. Love does not compute.
I like the kind of space that he's added to it there, and he's gone for a bit of a Bon Tempi kind of rhythm.
Yeah.
Which I quite like. And it's got that skanky feel. Skanking. Yeah. I'm skanking. So it's an interesting interpretation, isn't it? But I did feel the need to sing Haircut 100 over the top of it.
Yes, you did.
I did. Because it just felt like that. And Mark brings that to mind with me, I'm afraid.
What, Haircut 100?
Yes.
Well, I think he modelled himself on people like Nick Hayward and
I don't think that's a bad thing.
no, and Roddy Frame.
Yeah.
You know, he loves those big guitars, and you know, not in a loudness sense, as in physical size of them. You know, those big Gretsch,
Yeah.
hollow-bodied and semi-hollow-bodied guitars, and bright red paint job on them. And I think he came of age listening to that sort of music, and he carried it with him. But it's interesting. I'd not picked up when I first heard his version the kind of the ska rhythm that he's put on it.
Yeah, which is
It
quite
sounded like
nice.
the Specials second album. There are a lot of
Yeah.
those kind of weird, cheap keyboard drum machine type sounds all over that album.
Will you just promise to me though something? Will you please go away and watch the video to "Fantastic Day" by Haircut 100? Because I watched it the other day and it's really good. It's funny and it involves the Haircut 100 band surrounded by a group of what can only be described as sexy ladies. In a kind of a Benny Hill sort of style,
Really?
having great fun and riding around in a car. And there's an old guy in the video for some weird reason that seems to be having a nice time with a young lady. It's very strange. It's very strange.
I think you'll find he's having a fantastic day.
He's having a fantastic day. There is an old guy having a fantastic day. You got to watch it.
I'm going to watch that. That sounds cool. I think that's enough for Vocodemol. Let's talk about the next song.
Let's talk about the next song. Now, I'm quite looking forward to this one because this is one that I can relax to because I had absolutely nothing to do with the recording of this song. No. I think I may have possibly made up the title, but I'm not even sure about that, to be honest. No. But I'm going to enjoy it because I'm still part of the organisation, so I still have some claim to it. But it's a nice instrumental track that you recorded. And it's called Stony Clouds.
Yeah.
And it's named after a local nature reserve.
Like a landmark, isn't it?
Yeah. Where there's lots of trees and it's very peaceful. And it kind of overlooks the Erewash Valley. And we would go there sometimes and hang out.
The main thing it overlooks is the M1.
Well, that's it. That's what I was going to say. I mean, you can kind of look from the Stony Clouds on the hill towards the town of Ilkeston, where we grew up, and you can see St Mary's Church, and you can see all the buildings. But in this kind of beautiful, idyllic setting on a hill, it's only slightly sort of ruined by the view and the sound of the M1.
Yeah.
Snaking through the landscape.
Yeah.
And it's like a gigantic
scar,
glowing scar at dusk, and the constant road noise. So yeah, I mean, I think this song kind of, well, you know, it's going a bit far to say that this piece of music is a picture of it, but it does make the title and the music connect to make me think of it, definitely.
Yeah.
And the young Woodwards and their friends sitting at Stony Clouds and thinking about the promise of travel and other places and getting out of here.
I think for people like former guest Dick and the often mentioned Brian Price, Jock, the Archdeacon of Pop, they used to go there when they were at school and they'd just drink up there. So I think it was a bit of a drinking spot for those people. But certainly when we were in bands with Jock, we would go up there and just hang out and just get very romantic, looking at the motorway, the promise of travel, the promise of better places.
Romantic.
Jock's on the phone. I just said that. Did you hear that right at the end?
What did he say?
Dad comes in and goes, Jock's on the phone.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that. That's funny.
There's a weird bit of vibraphone at the start. And I must have just been fighting around on the keyboard because obviously there's your friend and mine, keyboard bass on that track.
Yay.
Everyone loves the keyboard bass.
I'm a big fan of the keyboard bass. I don't know whether you know that.
You've mentioned it several times. Yeah. But I must have been bored before going to work and I just recorded a bit of music. Now, it's hard to be restrained when you're recording stuff on your own because you should just go hog wild. But for some reason, I seem to remember when I was recording it, I was quite bored by what I was recording. But that works in a sense because there's a lot of space on it. And I could have just gone hog wild and put loads of screaming guitars and overdone the drums and the keyboard bass.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you didn't. I'm also glad that I didn't put any lyrics on it because I remember trying to write some lyrics for it, but I'm quite glad I didn't actually. I think it's one of those moments where it's better without, and it's good. I think it's nice. I think it does capture the feeling of sitting on stony clouds, and I love the name Stony Clouds. It's like such a cool poetic name for a place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Wonder if it's still there. Wonder if people still go there.
Of course, it's still there.
Yeah, but is it still the same? We'll have to go.
Well, no, it's an actual nature reserve now. It used to just be like just a bit of land, but now I think it actually has a sign up that says it's a nature reserve.
Wow!
But you can go and walk. You can go and walk up there. You should go and well, we should go.
Let's go there. Let's go there and smoke and look at traffic and go. Oh God, it's ghastly. It's so noisy. We'll be completely unromanticizing it.
Yeah, it won't be as good when we go back.
Tell you what, let's not.
But like staring at the M1 is a thing that you would do as a youth, because when you were stuck in a little town and not much going on, and staring at the M1 would be like, oh, it's like going to a service station. It was like, oh, adventure, go to a service station.
It's a portal into another world.
Yeah, you know.
We wrote a lot of songs about the M1.
Well, it's that thing in the imagination, isn't it? Of in the landscape, it's like there's a way out. I guess in medieval times, people would have felt the same way about a river.
Yeah. When you say things like that, I don't know what to do because you leave a pause, and I know you're just about to start laughing.
That's it.
So now this is the point in the podcast where we choose one of the songs that we've listened to go onto a purely imaginary Best of Johnny Domino compilation tape. And the three songs we have been listening to today are The Last Mod, Vocodamol, and Stony Clouds.
Which one do you think it should be? Because we can only have one.
Yes, we can only have one.
We're going to be strict about it.
This is going to be one of those ones where we fall out, I think.
Maybe. Let's. I'm interested in hearing your reasoning first.
Right. In my mind, it's not Vocodamol because I quite like it, but I think there's just bits of it that kind of let it down for me. And I really enjoyed listening to Stony Clouds more than I thought I would. But maybe again, it goes back to it's a Sunday morning thing. I mean, for me, I like The Last Mod. I like the story behind it. I think lyrically it's good, and I like the music, and I like the sparseness of it. So for me, it's between The Last Mod and Stony Clouds, and I think The Last Mod pips it.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be that shocking, but I actually do agree with you.
What?
I agree with you on that. I do. And I think that Vocodamol, I really like it as a song, but it already kind of exists out there. It's on an album, and if people want to listen to it again, it's there, right? And I don't think it needs the honor of being on the mixtape, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I think I really did enjoy listening to the last mod, because it's a song that I'd not listened to for a long time, and it was in the spirit of the podcast. It was like a discovery of something from the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like Stony Clouds as well, but yeah, I think I'm going to go with the last mod.
Yeah.
I wonder if people will agree with our choice. Let us know if you think we're talking a load of rubbish.
Frequently, people don't agree with our choices.
Mm.
What did I have recently? A couple of people said that "Reap the Wind" was robbed a couple of weeks ago, which was a ridiculous song. That when we were talking with our mate Dick, but they felt that was robbed. The thing about the last mod is, whenever I pick a guitar up, that's what I play.
Yeah.
Not in a kind of self-aggrandizing sort of way. Hey, check this out. But it's still a very pleasing thing to play.
It's the music of your soul.
Yeah, but I'm glad we agree. I think the other thing about Vocodemol, that's another song that we played a lot with a real drummer.
Oh yeah, we did, and it was pretty good, wasn't it?
And it worked really nicely. I remember.
Should we mention his name, the real drummer?
Oh, the
Jeff Bot 3000.
Jeff Bot 3000. Jeff Davenport.
Yeah,
great bloke. Just an incredible drummer.
We did play that song a lot.
Yeah.
And Jeff did add something to it. Definitely.
Yeah, he enhanced it big time.
He did. And sadly, we don't have a recording of Jeff playing it.
I don't think we do.
No, I don't think we do either. Unless on some sort of weird live recording. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll have a dig around in the mountain and see if we can find it.
Oh yes, we will.
We will.
We will.
Yes,
I am the keeper of the tapes, as you know.
Yes, we will. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
I've got a new section.
I have. It's sort of. It's been a bit of a train of a stream of consciousness type thing this week, I'm afraid. It was kind of brought about by listening to Stony Clouds, and it made me think of it. You have to just bear with me on this one. It made me think of a film that I think, though it didn't really reflect directly our lived experience in the 90s, it did sort of capture some aspect of the atmosphere. And that film is River's Edge. I wonder if you remember, Steve, River's Edge.
I do remember it, yeah. It
was one of those films. We had a few films that we would regularly hire from Blockbusters. Or Video Magic, as it was called.
Video Magic or Titles. I think weirdly, I've got the card. Membership card somewhere.
There are a number of films that we used to regularly get at, but River's Edge was definitely one that was a repeat rental.
Yeah,
and watching it again recently, it still stands up. Really, I think it's a great film, and it's about a group of youth who were very kind of disenfranchised, living in a small town in. God, I wish I could remember which part of America it is, but. Maybe you could edit that bit in.
According to Wikipedia, the film River's Edge is set in, and I quote, a Northern California town. Intriguing.
But and they live by a river, in a town by a river, and one of their number kills his girlfriend, and the others have a very kind of morally ambiguous reaction to that. And it's got a very sort of dark atmosphere. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got lots of Slayer on the soundtrack, which I quite like. And Crispin Glover being completely manic.
Completely morally, as you say, ambiguous. But he's an archetype of the kind of thing, the edgelord thing that came around in the 80s, where like morally all bets were off.
Yeah.
And the fact is, this guy's killed his girlfriend, and she must have done something to provoke him. And hey, he's gone over the edge. He's like, I mean, it's not a new thing. It's not specific to the 80s, but there was a lot of that around in music of Butthole Surfers and Killdozer and Big Black, where it's kind of like the battles have been won, and we can talk about whatever we want. It's kind of this very liberal approach to morals.
Yeah, definitely. And that this film completely has that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should definitely watch the film if you've never seen it, or watch it again if you've not seen it for a long time, because it really takes you back. It really takes me back to kind of different way of thinking, I suppose. But also, and this is the train of thought. And then that made me think about how much I love Keanu Reeves. And then I started thinking about, okay, here's a question for you.
Right.
You know how people have like spirit animals? Right. Who would be your spirit actor? Because I'd like to think my spirit actor is Keanu Reeves. I think maybe at my best it is. I think my spirit actor is probably more like Mike Reed. Mike Reed when he was on EastEnders. Ricky. But you know, having an affair with Pat.
Oh, yeah, that is it is a weird film, River's Edge. That's a really
So who's your spirit actor?
Yet again, springing a big question on me. Whatever I choose, I will hate, and I will change my mind afterwards.
Come on, first answer.
We're recording this on the day that Matthew Perry died, and he is the only actor I can think of is Matthew Perry. You know, I met my wife when we were working together, and we were very good friends, and I was very sarcastic and thought I was incredibly funny. And we got together, and we've often joked that she's Monica and I'm Chandler. So,
that's poignant. What a good ending.
In honor of Matthew Perry, I will say him.
Oh, Steve, that's nice. So Matthew Perry and Mike Reed.
But it's probably not Matthew
Run
Perry.
around!
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of This Are Johnny Domino. As always, if you are enjoying it, please share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, share it with your loved ones, share it with people in the street. I mean, eventually we'll be able to sell you some merchandise and you'll be able to proclaim your love just by being, which will be incredible. Please like and subscribe wherever you are listening to this podcast right now. And if it is a platform wherein you can leave a review or a comment, please do so.
Get in touch. We love you.